live a good life. Also, how do you know, like, what's the best way to kind of go about overwriting and instilling those beliefs? And then how do you know once they are fully believed in and part of their being? Thanks for your time.
They become integrated within the synchronicity that happens in your life. When you fully integrate a belief system, you will know it because your life will change to reflect it. And you will be less likely to believe anything else because you will now have the reflective experience of the new belief that constantly happens in your life. It creates a kind of momentum that actually makes it seem unnecessary and illogical to go in any other direction. But the idea of following the formula will help you get in touch with whatever beliefs don't work for you. In humanity, some of the fundamental fear-based and negative beliefs have to do with your sense of worthiness and deservability and empowerment. You are all worthy. You are all self-empowered. You are all connected to Source. You are all a reflection of the infinite. You are co-creators. You create your reality. It is an understanding of these principles that will allow you to function in a more holistic way as a self-empowered being in your lives. And when you start functioning that way and following the formula as precisely as possible, synchronicity will reflect that to you in the events and situations that happen in your life, and you'll be able to take advantage of them to positive effect no matter what happens. So it is that ability to know what state of being you prefer to be in, regardless of what's happening around you, that becomes one of the hallmarks of being centered within yourself and being aligned with your higher mind.
Hi, Bashar.
Good day.
So my question centers around discernment between manifesting versus having a premonition. So long story short, when I was little, I saw a horse race on TV that was somewhat traumatic for me. A horse was getting ready to run, tripped coming out of the gate. After the initial assessment, they thought the horse was fine. The horse was permitted to run. At the end of the race, I don't really recall all the detail, but the horse was euthanized on the track, and I had this very vivid memory of that. So fast forward to about 15 years ago now, I never watched a horse race since. I wouldn't have let myself. It was just I did something I couldn't do. So I watched a horse race. I was very nervous about it because the same visual from what I have in my memory was playing out in my head. And my friends were like convincing me that not that powerful. I can't recreate something like that, and don't worry about it and just enjoy the horse race. So I did. And the horse race went beautifully and fine. There was another horse race 2 weeks later, and this horse literally played out scene by scene like the memory in my head. He tripped coming out of the gate. They gave an initial assessment. They said he was fine. He ran the race or part of the race. He broke his leg. They didn't euthanize him on the track like in my memory. They were able to do multiple surgeries. They thought the horse was going to be fine. And then I had a horrible, I don't know if it was a premonition or I hope it's not a manifestation, but dream, very, very lucid dream. And I was caressing and stroking the horse's face as it was laying down on the ground and being euthanized. And I woke up in a very panicked state, and I had been crying, it seemed like forever, because my whole body was wet, my face was wet, my pillowcase was wet with tears, and I was very worried about the horse. So I called my mom and in a panic and asked if the horse was okay. And she was like trying to urge me to calm down. Said the horse is doing great. They've got webcams on him. The horse has never been better. And then 3 days later, the horse was euthanized. So I've always kind of carried that with me, worrying that my deep emotion and attachment to that bad memory when I was little recreated the scene.
It didn't so much recreate the scene as a manifestation. But since you were so affected by the first incident, you took yourself, your senses recognized when a parallel reality would match the first one, and shifted yourself to that reality because you were so connected to it, so strongly pulled to it. So you shifted yourself to another parallel reality that was very similar, because in a sense you were on alert for those kinds of incidents. So you shifted yourself to a reality in which that occurred as a apparent repeat, but a new experience similar to the first experience, because there are many parallel realities that are similar to one another. So because of the way you anchored and connected to the first incident, you always were, in a sense, on alert for connecting to a similar incident in a parallel reality, and thus gave yourself the opportunity to do that. Now, doing so did give you the ability to ease the pain of the horse. You did assist the horse in its transition because of your connection to it, because of your love for it. So it was something that was used to the benefit of the horse that was about to transition. It gave you the opportunity in the second event to do something you didn't necessarily have the ability to do in the first event, was connect to a similar event, but be there for the horse to aid and assist in its transition in a more peaceful way. Do you understand?
Yes, that's super helpful. Because it's just been, I've been carrying it with me for so long, and I've asked so many people, and because it literally played out scene by scene the way I had in my memories. And I just really, and I was such a good manifester at the time, and I really vowed basically never to manifest anything again, because I was so horrified that I could have manifested this beautiful.
You didn't cause it to happen, if that's what you mean by manifestation. You simply shifted yourself to experience the manifestation of a similar reality.
Okay.
So yes, in a sense, you manifested it for yourself, but it's not like you caused the horse to experience that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That's helpful. Speaking of parallel realities, I do have another question. So in another very lucid dreamlike state, but this one wasn't analogous to that really, other than it was a very lucid dreamlike state. And a person came to me, not in an off-putting way, not in a scary way, in a very sweet way. And this person, I didn't know if he was even part of this dimension, part of this world or not. But just very gentle, sweet conversations, like we had been together for years and years and years. It was like not a recurrent dream, but like a progressive dream. And then night after night, he would introduce me to his mom, and then he introduced me to his children. And then I actually ran into him, and I realized that he is a being on this planet and this dimension. And it was very weird for me, because I almost felt like I knew so much about his life, which I've all now validated to be accurate and correct and true. But my question is, again, back to manifestation, does that mean it's something that he and or I are manifesting a relationship of sorts? Or does he have is he actually in these dreams are so real and tactile, I can't imagine
you understand
this dream state.
You understand that it's as above, so below. Things exist in spirit first. You can decide to play them out in physical reality, but you set it up as an experience by agreement in a sort of energy blueprint in spirit. And then if it serves a purpose in the agreement you have with other beings, you can allow it to crystallize or manifest in physical reality for whatever reasons serve each of you. So you are simply adept at understanding and perceiving that things are played out first in spirit. You could call it, in a sense, a practice round, a rehearsal for what might eventually manifest in physical reality. And since you're sensitive enough to perceive the rehearsal level in spirit, you have the advantage of having information that you carry with you into the manifestation when it occurs by agreement in the physical lives as well. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you. So does he have awareness of these dreams as well?
To some degree, but again, he may not wish to have that memory when he realizes or manifests it in physical reality. He may wish it to be more of a surprise or a spontaneous occurrence, so he may not remember it by choice.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I think the dreams are actually changing now. They're not quite as realistic. They're getting a little, like, I don't know if you call them a hybrid dream, where I've had dreams recently that I know it's a dream in my dream. And like,
Yes, well, that's a lucid dream.
Say it again.
That's a lucid dream. If you know you're dreaming when you're dreaming, that's the definition of being lucid in your dream state.
Okay. So, but in the dreams, it's interesting. Like I was showing in one of my recent dreams, I was showing one of my friends around his house. And then I saw a security camera and it felt weird because I didn't know how to explain to him that we got dropped in via a dream into his house. And I didn't know how I was going to explain that.
Well, what's so difficult about explaining it?
Well, I was worried how I was going to explain it to him in 3D reality, basically.
Did you have to explain it?
No, I don't. It was just the dreams are changing a little and that I'm having more and more awareness of
all right, well, that's a good thing.
Which part of it's not.
It's all real. It's just happening on different levels.
Okay.
You understand there are different levels to your reality.
Yeah, it's just interesting because, after all this, then I start seeing pictures and all of a sudden, just group pictures and he'll be in the background, but I didn't know that I don't know. It's fascinating to watch. I'll put it like that.
It is, and you'll get used to it. But again, you simply have retained the ability to perceive realities on different levels simultaneously. And so you are more aware of having experiences on the different levels.
Okay. I have one last dream-like question for you. One last question. So I've had a couple of these. So I know when I was little too, I would get, I think it's called sleep paralysis, where you wake up and your whole body feels very paralyzed and like you're being pressed down into the floor and pressed into the foot of the bed. And it's kind of hard to breathe.
Yes, we understand what it is.
Say it again.
Yes, we understand what it is.
Oh, thank you. So, and when I was little, I would see beings, but they weren't scary. I didn't know if I should be scared or not, but they did not seem scary.
No, you do not need to be scared.
I've had a couple of these same experiences, but they were more scary. And once I opened up my eyes after it's always my right pinky that can start to move first and I get sensation back on my right side. And it's like someone or something was shining this, but I was awake, but neon bright flashlight in my eyes, but then I fell back asleep. But then I get the sensation again of the sleep paralysis and I could wake myself up. And this time I don't know, there was going to I knew it wasn't real. I don't know. But so I went and I put my hands into this being's face and it was very disconcerting because I could feel his eyelashes and lumpy eyelids on the back side of my fingers. And people have said, oh, that was a spirit or that was a reptilian and this and that. And you need to do a better job of protecting yourself. So I just didn't know what that was.
No. You are part of the hybridization agenda. You do have encounters and contacts with different kinds of beings, including the grays and other kinds of beings. But it's only scary now because you're more of an adult that is containing more things that you need to integrate within yourself. The idea is that, again, the paralysis is often a way of stabilizing your energy so that when you are shifted to another reality, you don't go flying off into the ethers. It's a common side effect of shifting from one reality to another. Because the idea is the paralysis is an indication that you're trying to move in your typical reality, but you're not in your typical reality fully, and therefore you can't move because you have to move differently in the alternate reality. Sometimes you are shifted by these beings into that alternate reality, and the transition from one to another can cause the sensation of this paralysis because you're not really sure what reality you're in anymore and don't know how to move where you are. But there's nothing to be afraid of. It's just that the vibration of these beings coming from a different reality will force certain things within you as an adult, certain belief systems within you to come to the surface, and they may also activate the idea of your survival mechanism because the physical mind can, when it's shifted to a different reality, feel like it's dying. This is something we're going to explain more clearly in a couple of upcoming transmissions.
Thank you so much.
There is nothing to be afraid of.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Because I've been better at that recently. Last question that I have for you is much more lighthearted. I know as many of us here, I've been very touched by experiences with dolphins, both on this plane and meditation type states, and whales and those type of beings who I think are just so magical and whimsical. And I've been taught over the years, I don't know if this is true, that they're here to hold the vibration of the planet until we can do so.
In a
Are
sense,
we
yes. In a sense, they are.
okay? Are
They're
we
waiting for you
getting
to,
better?
they're waiting for some of you to catch up. Some of you are getting better at it. Not everyone is getting better at it because not everyone needs to. But enough of you are getting better at it that you will shift to the version of Earth where you will be more in harmony with them.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome. Aveo.
Aveo.